Hello, 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 everyone. This is Dr. David checking in with you, coming live from the NLP Powerhouse in San Diego, California. Hope everybody's doing well on this 4th of July weekend, or Monday, as the case may be. I'm just popping in to see who's around. If anybody's around, I'm going to be hanging out for a little bit and happy to answer any questions people have. If nobody shows up in the next 5-10 minutes, then I will catch you. Oh, there we have 2 people popping in, checking up. Well, there's 5 more. They're coming in fast now. Hey, everybody. Hi from Kurdistan. Kurdistan's in the house. Ground 7 says, greetings, Dr. David. Nice to see you. Nice to see you, too. Anmal Chawa says, hey, David. Hey, Chris. Nice to see you. How's everybody doing on this 4th of July weekend or week? Is this Monday or Sunday? I can't remember. I think Sunday was yesterday, right? Yeah, it's a Monday. Bill South says, hey, Dr. David. Hey, back, Bill. Ashwin, welcome. Jennifer, hello from Vegas, Jennifer. Hey, Jax. Chris here. David says, how? Chris, I'm good. I'm good. Like I said, I was doing some work, and I just got this incredible need to talk to everybody and reach out and see what's going on. There is no Zoom link for this session. I decided to go direct to just my YouTube people. You guys have got me for however long we're together. You know, this was not a scheduled thing. So I just wanted to just hang out. Hey, Heather. There's Alex's snazzy shirt. Well, thank you. Let me just adjust my table just a little bit here so I get the right height. I hate looking out of proportion in my shots. So Goodheart says, hey, hi. Lucy, why are you feeling nervous? What's going on with that? So you guys got any questions? Anything you want to talk about while you got me on here? Alex says, this live stream just made my day. Chris says, if I wanted to work with you on one-on-one, is this possible? Right now, it's very difficult. Right now, one-on-one sessions are reserved primarily for my Mega Platinum and Unlimited Influence coaching clients. So, but we do have a lot of highly qualified people that we refer to that I vetted personally or trained perfectly, or not perfectly, personally. So the number to call for that is 858-282-4663. Reach out to Stephanie, and she'll either put you in contact with my clinic or she'll refer directly to you somebody who is on our list of clients that we feel are more than qualified to handle referrals. So let's see here. Alex P says, I have a question. Do pheromone colognes work? I believe they do. But I don't believe they work the way a lot of people think they work. And again, and also a lot of that depends on the quality of the company that you're dealing with. In experimenting with various types of pheromone solutions, the best one I have, and this is, again, I get no money, I'm not an affiliate for them, for the work that I'm teaching, which is a lot of it has to do with advanced neuroplasticity. The company I've worked a lot with is Pheromone Advantage is actually the process or the company I've used most often, the one that most of my clients and students have had the greatest success with. You can find them on ClickBank. I think you can also go to pheromoneadvantage.com and look at their products. Hope that helps. Alex P says, David, help me quintuple my salary in 2 years. You got to write that up and let people know, brother. That's something that I think a lot of people really need to hear about right now. So the more you can get documentation you give us on that, that would be awesome. Thank you. Lucy says, is it Lucy or Lucy? I don't know how, I don't want to pronounce your name. I'm doing a presentation tomorrow in front of all my area managers. Cool. And are you sure that's not just excitement? A lot of times they have similar physical symptoms, but the label that we attach to them can dramatically influence the resources we have access to based on that. It's something I teach my students a lot in their state control training. Anmal Chawa says, I was wondering if image cycling can't be used to influence other people's decisions. What else can we use that for that? Actually, image cycling can be used to influence people's decisions. It's just highly recommended that you don't use it for influencing people's decisions. According to Bill Bankston, people who tend to try to use image cycling to influence others often get their outcome, but it often winds up blowing up in their face in some way. I'm paraphrasing a little bit. If I remember exactly what he says is, yeah, it'll work, but they'll find some way to screw it up. So I've cautioned my students about using image cycling for that particular, in that particular way, but I've taught them some workarounds and stuff like that based on my training in Kabbalah that I think has helped people to get a lot of what they want. Let's see here. Don't mind me. I'm trying to read the list. It's flying by really quick. Okay. Heidi Robinson's asking, how do we avoid fake foods? Also, I hate margarine. Well, read the labels. If it's one of the ways that you can avoid fake foods is if it doesn't come from the periphery of the store, it's probably fake. Usually the way most grocery stores traditionally are set up, all the organic stuff, all the natural produce and things like that are around the periphery of the store, where everything else that's processed is in the center. So that's just a good rule of thumb. Good heart. I'm filling out an employment application right now. What powerful words can I use to convince someone I'm a perfect fit? On an application, I'd have to take a look at the application, because those words are going to be dramatically different based on who wrote the application and the way they're asking you questions. The best thing to do is fill out the application as ethically and honestly as you can to get the interview. Once you get the interview, now you can take things like the interview crusher, the resistance removal formula, echo technique, things of that nature, and customize your answers to the person in front of you so that you can more precisely fit their ideals and values and desires for the perfect candidate for that position. So to me, that would be the place to use our techniques. Okay. Certainly there are people out there who can help you create a better resume, things of that nature. But again, the resume really isn't going to do much except maybe get you the interview. What you do in the interview is going to make or break where if you separate yourself from the rest of the herd. Okay. Lioness of Gaia, I wear pheromones for me. It helps me calm my anxiety. Excellent, excellent application. That's what I highly recommend. In fact, one of the things I tell my students is stay away from the attractant pheromones. And one of the reasons that I use Pheromone Advantage is because of all the different companies I've looked at out there, they're the only ones that produce an oxytocin pheromone. And this will actually cause your social anxiety to diminish. It will tend to cause you to move in a more trusting and trustable way. And anybody who's within a certain range of you can get a little bit of an effect of that trust and comfort and connection energy as well. The other aspect of it, which is something that a lot of people don't think about when they think about pheromones or that kind of application, is that oxytocin creates enhanced neuroplasticity for social processes. So if I put like a few drops of an oxytocin pheromone into like an essential oil diffuser or something like that, I may get an enhanced impact on my ability to learn social skills and social cognition, as well as other forms of interactional based learning. Most of the science around oxytocin seems to indicate that it's focused more on learning in neuroplasticity within social interactions or relationships. How much of that oxytocin or based neuroplasticity extends to other things like learning languages or physical skills, I haven't seen as much studies or science on that. So if you're going to be doing anything that has to do with emotional intelligence, relationship learning, communication, oxytocin pheromones are a good way to actually accelerate both your psycho-emotional states, but as well as your ability to learn things faster. So hopefully that helped. Heidi says, thank you for this video. You are very welcome. Alex says, thank you. You are also very, very welcome. Esmeralda says, happy 4th of July, everyone. Yay. Okay. Alex, killer influence, image cycling, and understanding people's values and doing favors and introducing connections to others has assisted me in increasing my salary and interview crusher. Boom. There you go. Just what I said. Perfect, Alex. Heather Endress says, love the Kabbalah work arounds. They've helped me. They've certainly helped me. Yes. Very good. Yeah. Heather's one of my mega platinums. We call her Mega Babe for short. And she's probably one of the best examples of someone who's taken this technology and just run with it. So kudos out to Heather. Alchemical process. Have you ever tried mudra work in conjunction with deep level rapport to stack states on top of each other to drop someone in trance as they can't keep up with the quick state changes you do? All right. So that's a compound question. The first set of answers is yes, I have. B, if someone can't keep up with the quick state changes that I'm doing, it's incumbent on me to slow down until they can track me. So part of what you're asking, the first answer is yes. These mudras can in fact enhance state work and deep level rapport. There are lots of cool things you can do with them. But the second piece is if someone is in deep trance and they can't keep up with me, then I have a sensory acuity problem going on. I have an inability to perceive what's going on with my client to the point where I move at the speed at which they can move. Because if you try to move faster than somebody can keep up with, one of several things can and will happen. A, they'll tend to go into confusion. But what will kind of sort of happen after they go into confusion is they'll break rapport. So at the end of the day, you have to think of it like I'm pulling a very, very fragile string. And if I pull too fast, the string will snap, right? And rapport is a lot like that. It's a lot like two soap bubbles, right? That are kind of slowly merging to become one. But any sudden jolt or change of direction can actually pop both bubbles. So you have to have a really strong sense, what we call internal sensitivity, in terms of being able to track where they're at. And one of the best set of exercises and the best systems I ever found for developing that understanding was, believe it or not, the martial arts. Specifically the arts of Aiki Jiu-Jitsu, Sistema, and Tai Chi. These were absolutely instrumental in me learning to understand, especially Aiki, this concept of leading through connection, pacing and leading on a physiological and sensitive level. So, the idea of sensitivity, be able to track what's going on with another person, is absolutely critical in your ability to exert influence from the purely biomechanical to the psycho-emotional to the verbal to the energetic. Certainly visual sensory acuity, which is where my friend Chase likes to spend a lot of time, comes in. But at the end of the day, your kinesthetics are going to give you a greater sense of what's going on with the person that you're seeking to connect with. To me, the mojo's in the kinesthetics. Let's see here. Art, David, I want to get filthy rich. How can I do that? Is image cycling the best for that? Yes and no. Image cycling is probably, to me, the gold standard in rapid manifestation. However, depending on the kind of person you are, the life you lead, and the way you choose to make your money, the universe may require you to go through some very intense, aggressive, and radical transformations. As one of my old school teachers used to say, you can be or do or have anything in this life that you want, as long as you're willing to become the person for whom that thing can happen to, right? And so a lot of times when we start to do image cycling for wealth, which I'm not against. I mean, I started image cycling and my wealth, my amount of money in my bank account literally doubled in 3 months. At the end of, I think it was 2014 or 2015, I had X $100,000. I'd made X $100,000 for the year. After learning image cycling, I had that much money in the first quarter of the next year in my bank account than I made the entire year previously. So there are ways to utilize image cycling to accelerate and amplify everything. The question becomes, how radical is the life transformation you're going to provoke necessary to do that? So just keep that in mind when you start cycling for things like wealth and things of that nature. It may require your whole life may blow up, because that's the only way for you to build back better, to quote a much often hated term. But it is sometimes the way things happen. And again, taking a Buddhist approach is just rolling with the changes. Nothing is permanent. Sometimes we want to reach the next level, but we're still holding on to this level here, and we have to let go at some point between one trapeze and the other to get there. So again, image cycling works. Bill Bankston is still trying to figure out why, and I happily let him do that. But we do know it. Anecdotally, experientially, case study after case study after case study. There's hundreds of people on the YouTube channel in Planet David, in our inner circles, who have used image cycling for patently impossible stuff, and it's worked. But a lot of times, the process they had to go through to become the person for whom who could have that thing was pretty rough. So, you have been told, right? Take it for what it's worth. Okay. Hold on a second here. Hall Anthony says, dude, you don't have a barbecue or friends to chill with? Actually, I do. I did it all yesterday because I wanted to avoid crowds. That's why I've got a little bit of a red face. I spent all day at the Delmar County Fair. Right. And historically, just, the little fun factoid, pretty much since 2010, when we created the NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program, one of the things we would do for many, many years after we started the program was everybody would come to all my mastermind members would actually come to my house on the 4th of July for a 4th of July party. And then when dusk rode around, we would all get in the car and we would drive to the Delmar County Fair and just hang out at the fair and watch the fireworks. That was a tradition for many, many years. Kind of got derailed mostly when we started having to go hide ourselves inside the house, wear masks, do stuff like that. And so in honor of an old tradition, I decided, well, you know what? I haven't done a public AMA in forever. It is the 4th of July. I'm pretty burnt from yesterday. Why don't I just hang out with my people here? Some of you may have picnics and barbecues to go to, and that's cool. But every now and then, you ever notice that sometimes on these holidays, you actually kind of sit around the house, bored off your ass, watching the Deadhead tube or whatever, not having anything really engaging to do. I try to offer an alternative, if that makes any kind of sense. Anyway, to me, you're more than my friends. You're my extended family. You're, I don't know how to put this in a way that doesn't sound self-serving or creepy or weird, but you guys are largely the reason I do what I do. I was fortunate in my life unfortunate at first, to just have God take my life and wipe his ass with it for the first few years of my life. But it motivated me to find answers to problems that nobody seemed to have answers to. And after a while of seeking out those answers, I started sharing some of the solutions I'd found with other people. And lo and behold, turns out they had similar problems. And I found out really, really quick that sharing this information and watching lives change fed something in me that I didn't know needed to be fed. So I have a purely selfish motivation for hanging out. There's something that it feeds my spirit to do these things and to watch people take these solutions out into the world and change their lives in whatever degree they're willing to do it, at whatever level they're willing to come into Planet David at. Most of you will stay in the free level, and that's cool. Others will want more, and you guys know how to do that. I don't have to tell you. But to me, hanging out with you guys is the most fun I can have with my clothes on. Right? I did have another YouTube channel never mind, I won't talk about that. But anyway, moving on. David, I was curious, how can I start approaching women using your attraction system? Somehow I can't approach girls at my college. Here's the first rule. Don't try. Don't try to approach women. Because what happens a lot of times when we want to approach somebody, the first thing that happens is we get this radical state change. Most beautiful people, male or female, tend to put us into an unresourceful state to begin with. So the first thing you have to do is control your state. The second thing you have to do is stop running bullshit movies in your head about them rejecting you. Okay. Those are two things that whether you are going to do a full-scale approach or what I'm going to talk about next, which is an incremental approach, you got to do. You got to get that out of the way. The second thing is don't try to do an approach first. Walk around your college campus practicing one simple thing: positive eye contact. Positive eye contact in our systems have three components to it. Without all three, you do not have what we call positive eye contact. So first part of positive eye contact, as you can probably guess, is eye contact, right? Look him in the eyes, but look him in the eye with a gentle, cool, hi, nice to meet you kind of an energy rather than a creepy serial killer scare like, okay? We don't want that. So eye contact first, smile, legitimate smile. Right? How do you know it's a legitimate smile? There's little crow's feet right up here that appear. This is called a Duchenne smile. Okay. If you take a picture of somebody and they're smiling, right, and they're dead from the nose up, not a legitimate smile. Best place to really see this is on catwalk videos or runway videos where people are like going down the red carpet to an awards where celebrities are getting out of their limos, and you can see who's got the legitimate smiles and who doesn't. You can be able to track that. So those two pieces have to. The final piece is when you make eye contact and you smile, and they smile back, do their eyebrows go up just like this? Let me see. I'm not using my my Logitech. I'm using my Logitech phone, but I don't think I can use my. I can't zoom in with this camera. I don't have control. So I hope you can see this eyebrow flash is part 3 of what we call positive eye contact. If you don't see the positive, the eyebrow flash, as we call it, sometimes people call this the unconscious hello. You've got somebody who may be being polite, but isn't necessarily happy to see you or isn't inviting you to approach. If you see the eyebrows raise, then you have a chance. There's more of a welcome. There's a signal that's passed between you and this person that kind of signals friendship. Okay. Hold on a second. I guess got to check a message. All right. Let's see here. What else we got? Hope that answers your question. All right. But I would just walk around college campuses doing nothing, like just 30 times a day. Walk up to a person or by a person, look them in the eye, smile, and give them that positive eye contact and see that it's returned, right? Get used to that. Once you're really comfortable with that, where it's like, oh my God, do I have to do this again? But now it's kind of it's not a question of fear. It's more of a like, oh, it's just something you do, right? When it becomes like just regular nonchalant, now you take the next phase, which is say hi. That's it. Hi, how you doing? Boom. Get them to answer back. Do that 30 times a day for 3 or 4 days until that becomes old. And then once you're comfortable with that, start working on level 1 of the 3 magic questions, which is location occasion, right? Teeny pieces, overlearned, till you're really, really comfortable with it. That's micro approaching, right? Or micro steps, right? Some people want to jump in with both feet. Some people are better off with that incremental overlearned approach. Find your happy place. Find which one works for you, if that makes any kind of sense. Let's see. Mahdi Shabbat. David, do you plan to teach or do you teach in one of the courses Kabbalah prep? I just actually taught Kabbalah hardcore, really, for the first time in May in Costa Rica. We did a 7-day vibrational influence training where one of the capstones of that particular program was an introduction to the Kabbalah according to David. The stuff I've been doing. People were blown away. Because we tacked it onto all the other vibrational training stuff that we've been doing and showed them how it all blended together. I just finished my first mega platinum retreat. We didn't talk too much about Kabbalah directly at this training, but it was asked about, and it is on the docket for future mega platinum events. So yeah, we do teach it, but we like you to have some real world experience with our other systems first, especially things that have to do with rapport and state control, so that you can better tap into the forces that we're going to teach you about in like vibrational healing, face reading, vibrational influence, and advanced techniques like that. Secrets of Internal Power would also be a great place for you guys to come out and learn the physical side of these things and how they can be tested on a physical body. Okay, but I hope that helps. We do plan on teaching more of it, but only at certain levels. Okay. Esmeralda at Hal Anthony. Okay. I think Hal Anthony's question was very valid, and yet you are here. Welcome to David Snyder Live. Yes. Okay. Ashwin, I'm in India. It's already the 5th of July here. Well, happy 5th of July, Ashwin. Let's see. Lucy, I need to remember it's all just excitement after all. Yes, it is. Right? Remember, if they didn't find value in what you had to say, they wouldn't be taking the meeting to begin with. So they're already at your mercy. Liam says, hold on a second. Don't worry, it's not you. Okay. Hold on a second here. Wait a minute. People are just, thank you, by the way, those of you who are donating, thank you so much for that. How do you deal with a persistent cough? First and foremost, notice if that persistent cough has anything to do with what you've been eating lately. Second of all, I would start with the transformational triad. Point to where you feel it, reach out and touch it, write the lessons while you have it, and see if that starts the process of eliminating it. You may go through some purging from the lungs as the body gets rid of the emotional components and the energetic components leading to that. But let that happen. That's just a natural purging process. Okay. Certainly, I would go see a doctor. Regardless of anything that I recommend, I would recommend that you get checked out by a medical doctor first, and make sure there's nothing physiologically wrong that they can track, or they're not going to do just blanket antibiotics or whatever for that. Let's see here. Guys, you guys are jumping around so much. Hold on a second. Okay. Is this useful, guys? I don't know how much longer I can stay on, but I want to stay on as long as I can. I do have to answer one thing. Let's see here. What would you do with that? Okay, hold on. Any techniques on hold on. Okay. The stage hypnosis illusion. Ashwin asks, is stage hypnosis an illusion or magic they're all interrelated, Ashwin. And this is again one of the peril points when we're starting to look at prestidigitation or stage illusion magic, stage hypnosis, mentalism, and the actual practice of creating reality and manifesting. They actually all start in a very similar place, which is the art and science of state control. Largely, more of the entertainment-oriented stuff, it's largely state control of the audience, but there is some degree of state control and acting skills that you need to do performance magic. And then they go into the art of suggestion. And suggestion is a phenomena that, regardless of what level you're working at, whether it's the entertainment, stage hypnosis, mentalism, David Copperfield kind of stuff, or you're dealing with the things that we teach, which is advanced persuasion and influence and or manifestation and magical practices. Suggestion has to be a topic that you have a certain level of mastery and competency with. Because if you don't understand suggestion, then you can't really parse which is, is something mostly suggestion with a tiny piece of the energetic, or is there mostly an energetically charged suggestion being delivered? They're flip sides of the same coin. But you need to understand the dynamics and the nuances of suggestion so that you can navigate these waters more expertly and safely, but also not be taken in by people who are masters of suggestion and are using suggestion to make you believe that something magical beyond the mind is going on. Okay. Hopefully that helps. Okay, David, good to see you today. Love your surprise AMA second. Thank you for the Secrets of Internal Power class. Very empowering, way beyond my expectations. Thank you. Thank you, Liam. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I can't wait to see what comes up in October when we do our next one. I'm excited about it. I may have to pull back more curtains and show more really cool, sneaky, energetic stuff. The image cycling is better than Neville Goddard's techniques too. I don't know any of Neville Goddard's techniques, so I really can't. I can't comment on that. A lot of people compare my stuff to his for sure, but I don't personally know a lot about Neville Goddard's work. If I've read anything by him, it was so long ago, I don't remember it. When is your next free Zoom webinar? I think in about 2 weeks. We've got one coming up right before I head out to Las Vegas for the 11-day hypnotic certification celebration vacation. Let's see. Dave also asked, the image hacking Bankston teaches uses images to produce feelings, but you made us use Gestalts in Hidden Laws of Attraction. What's better? Neither. When I use Gestalts, it's just another type of image. I bring certain things to the Bankston process that Bill either never needed to use or didn't want to use or didn't know about. One of the things that we do a lot with our image cycling process is once we've created an image, because we understand what we call the primary encoding system, how the nervous system actually generates amplitude and significance to an image, we use those techniques to amplify the power of our list and the impression it makes in our nervous system even more powerfully. And so taking the time to do that embeds that information even more deeply into the neurology and makes it easier to cycle without consciously being programmed by it, without having to consciously keep it in your head. So a lot of the things that we do in our image cycling, Bill doesn't know or doesn't necessarily feel are necessary. And this is the important thing, going back to how Bill teaches image cycling. His biggest thing that I think you need to take away from it is avoid ritual. There is, as far as we know, no wrong way to do it. Avoid ritual, be playful. And as long as you're having fun and generating positive energies while you're cycling, you're probably going to get what you want at some point. I hope so. Lots of differences, but they're basically my ways of kind of embellishing or enhancing the priming aspect of the image cycling creation process, much more so than the cycling process itself. Alchemical processes, thank you for the answer. Menet is doing muja work, connecting to different levels of trance. And once you've got rapport, you drop yourself quickly down to levels and get them. I can do that for sure. Will Wiggensbach, my longtime friend and artist. Happy 4th of July. Happy 4th of July, Will. Danka, welcome. Nice to see you too. Hi, David. What's your suggestion for conversations at weddings, parties? Your echo technique works when the conversation is more private. Oh, it works everywhere. But what I would do for you is use the echo technique, but use it in the structure of a 3 magic questions protocol, and you'll never be lost. You'll always be able to break off conversations, come back to it, nuances, things like that. But absolutely, echo technique, 3 magic questions, and ultimately the emotional bonding checklist, going to be solid gold for you. Okay. If you want to, then there's an addition that we teach at Attraction Mastery. Attraction Mastery is coming up in February of 2023 in Las Vegas. We call it 36 Magic Bullets. 36 Magic Bullets is based on a study known as the 36 questions. And these are questions that you can ask once you've gotten to level 2.5 in the 3 magic questions process that will generate massive connection and intimacy between you and a stranger, believe it or not. But if you don't have a good grasp of echo technique and 3 magic questions, you really shouldn't be playing with the 36 magic bullets just yet. But there's lots of extensions that we can do. Okay, but I would start with the echo technique, 3 magic questions, emotional bonding checklist. It's an interesting process. Find a way back to normal. Okay, not sure what that's about. Lioness of Gaia says, what a great gift, Dr. David. Thank you for offering ways to internal freedom. My pleasure. My pleasure. Let's see here. I think I answered Marin's question about the cough. David Enmal says, I have some questions about the 7 stages of attraction. There's some reason I cannot move up to the touching stage. The woman I'm with doesn't move in the nest. Then you're probably you're probably not spending enough time on the 3MQ process. You're probably not spending enough time on getting her to talk about the things that she finds exciting, that she finds that she's passionate about. The other thing you can play with to get her to start to want to move into that nest. Hey, are you setting up the snuggle space properly. That would be my first thing. Is physiologically, are you kinesthetically, are you positioning yourself properly to make it comfortable for her to do that? Second of all, are you following her cues up to that point? Because chances are you're missing cues. The final thing, which is kind of a graft on, and kind of a switchback to that 36 magic bullets I was talking about. If you start injecting some of these 36 magic bullet questions into the conversation, that may open up a deeper level of intimacy where she feels more willing to kind of let you say, okay, I'm with you, kind of a thing. So those are some things I would play with, right? Without observing you or listening to you in the field, I have no way of really knowing if you're deploying the other techniques effectively. So I'm just giving you I'm just spitballing some things for you. Let's see. So let's see. And while on the touching stage, do I touch her the same way she touched me? What if yes. If she just brushes past you, then find a way to brush past her, or just to brush that area, right? But again, the more adeptly and organically you can copy the exact touch and location as possible, that's going to be the safest way to do it, right? There's lots of other pickup systems out there. I shouldn't say other pickup systems. We're not a pickup system, but there are lots of pickup systems out there that will try to accelerate and compress that keynote period, which can blow up, especially now with everybody being so hypersensitive about touch and boundaries and things like that. The safest, most organic, neurologically friendly way to accelerate connection is by perfectly mirroring the touch, the time, the place, the location as possible. Now, if she brushes past you when she goes to get up, find an excuse to get up and brush past her, right? And come back. If you're making a joke and she touches you on the arm, you might just say, hey, touch her exactly the same place. Say, this isn't free. You got to pay for that, right? And make a joke out of it. But the idea is that you mirror the energy, the touch, the intention in a non-threatening, non-sexual way, right? Because touches are always sex tests. They're always a way, conscious or unconscious, they're always a test to see if you're going to respect the boundary or violate it. And they're going to make a lot of judgments about you based on how you do that. So again, it doesn't seem like a big deal. It's always a big deal, right? Okay. Revelation. Happy 4th of July, David. Question: how long did your Darth Snyder period last? I'll let you know when it's over. No, I'm teasing. I would probably say up to about 2004, 2005. I'd say was the end of that time when I had some revelations about things and I realized I needed to change my life, so to speak. But certainly, it's definitely a phase I'm at. Now, don't get me wrong. Someone crosses a line, I'm more than capable of going, opening up my old bag of tricks and lowering a neuro-linguistic spiritual boom on people. But by and large, the deeper I get into the things I'm doing now, the less I need them. And it just seems to be built into the system that the deeper into these practices you go, the harder you are to really kind of attack. I may be tempting fate with that, but I think a lot of it has to do with the way you evolve, the relationship you develop with the universe, the way you've evolved your nervous system, and things of that nature. And you start to become much, much better at screening people. So much of the darkness in our lives largely comes from the pain that we feel and the way it clouds our judgment in the assessment of others. And so I think, once again, like we have a class coming up in, I think it's either August or September. It's called Defense Against the Dark Arts, which is all about behavioral profiling, how to look at somebody and flag them as a narcissist, a con artist, pedophile, you name it. And really being able to kind of thwart these people before they gain a foothold in your life. And if they do gain a foothold in your life, what you can actually do to remove them and keep them from sucking you back into it. It's really a cool class. It's based on our award-winning best-selling Killer Influence program, but it focuses more on not just the influence side, but on the personality and behavioral profiling side and the ability to look at people and speed read them and know how to deal with them. So a lot of what happens as you get deeper into this is you start being able to just recognize the patterns of behavior and thought in people, and you know where that's going. And so you can get yourself out of a situation before it ever rears its ugly head, right? But if you always revert to what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. So again, the more you can learn about how to read people and understand them, the more choices you have. So I hope that helps. So Vlad Marius Lungo. David, I just wanted to thank you. A few months back, you did an AMA, suggested I read Barden's Verbato. I literally found the solution there for the psychic attacks that me and my girlfriend were experiencing. Boom, bravo. Congratulations, Vlad. Dr. J, watch David's videos on YouTube, Hypnosis Induction. Oh, that's not directed at me. Okay. Let's see here. Philippa says, hey, David, apologies. I'm going to be missing you in Las Vegas. I'm back in London, UK for a few weeks soon in September. Okay, Philippa. I hope I see you soon. Can hypnosis help you stop drinking? Absolutely, it can. Make sure you find someone who's very competent and work alongside any medical doctors or psychotherapists or psychologists that you're also, or counselors that you're working with. Hypnosis works best when it's done as an integrative approach, as a team effort with other healthcare providers. And a lot of hypnotists out there like to bill themselves as the alternative. Don't do that. If you're a hypnotist or hypnotherapist, don't vilify the medical profession. Don't vilify psychotherapists or psychologists. They're your greatest source of referrals if you can demonstrate competence. Okay. If you're a hypnotist and you are a hypnotherapist and you don't have a lot of academic credentials behind you, you can be very competent. But if you say the wrong thing and you go outside that scope of practice, they will lower the boom on you. All right. So always, 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 whenever possible. First of all, I'll tell you, if you're a hypnotist, don't use the word hypnosis. You're going to get a lot more business. But that's a different topic for a different day. Don't bill yourself as the alternative and make other people bad. Okay. Everything works for somebody. Nothing works for everybody. But you're always going to get a bigger return on your investment in terms of marketing, promotion, and client outcomes if you work as part of an integrative team. Okay. Just putting that out there. You can take it or leave it, throw it out the window, whatever. Okay. Let's see here. EV Star Music says, or most effective way. I think I missed something Evie said earlier. Let me go back up here really quick. What's the best way to change negative patterns and behaviors into healthier habits and behaviors? Well, the quick and dirty way is what we call the transformational triad. Boom, period, end of story. However, if you want a more fleshed out personal transformation process, the Identity by Design silo, which we teach in real world hypnosis, but also teach in Secrets of Personality Transformation and Self-Mastery Supercharger, is probably the fastest DIY solution to getting all those things changed in the shortest amount of time possible. So that's where I would start. Let's see here. And Fall Wind, assuming this person had a trauma in their life, how is it possible to approach them and manifest them to help them get over their past experience? Greetings from Kuwait. Okay, so Anfal, I'm going to ask you to restate that question, just because when you say manifest them to help them, are you trying to manifest people who've had trauma so you can help them fix their traumas? Or are you trying to manifest a healing to someone with a specific trauma? Because I'm not sure exactly what you're asking me there. Okay. Let's see here. Danka says, Royce Bibb says, if not putting yourself out there as a hypnotist, what then? Well, here's the thing, Royce. Most people have an allergy to hypnotists, to the word hypnosis. Now, if the clientele that you have is comfortable with that word, keep it. But you're going to find that a lot of hypnotists all over the country in different parts of the world, the culture that they're in right now, whether it be local communities, churches, religions, have very, very, very varied baggages around the word hypnosis. And so, as I've told all of my students, hypnosis doesn't care what you call it, right? if you're in a place that has a strong new age component, you may get away with calling what you do creative visualization, advanced meditation. If you're in a place that's very strongly medical, that has a lot of technical oriented kinds of businesses, people may not put a lot of confidence in the word hypnosis, but you could easily call it something like psychosomatic neuromodulation, closed eye process, and get the same results. Okay. So again, when you think about not whether you can do the work or not, but what is going to be the most palatable label for what you do. I'll give you a perfect example from my life. Now, you guys know I've been a lifelong martial artist going on 40 years now. Okay. You walk into the average karate school and you start talking about hypnosis, and everybody gets a wild stick up their ass. That shit don't work. You can't make me do that. Blah, blah, blah. You can't heal people with that crap. Blah, blah. And they'll tell you all day long that you can't do it, and they won't let you do it. But in many classical dojos, you go in and you start talking about chi, energy, ki, qigong. You can get them to do all the same shit. Why? Different perspective, different set of filters. Your job, remember, none of the magic you have to bring to the client happens until they do what you say. You can't get them to do what you say, you can get them in the door. So are you fishing if you're looking for clients, are you using the right bait? Right? Remember, hypnosis as a practice doesn't care what you call it. So call what you do different stuff to find out who is going to respond to that based on the place you're at and where you're advertising. Okay. Now, my experience may be dramatically different from yours. Other teachers out there, I know Jason Lynette and I often go round and round back and forth about advertising hypnosis versus a problem for a solution for a problem. We go back and forth on that, right? You choose. Test everything, right? But I hope that answers your question. Transformational coaching works, right? I think I answered the first part, Anfal, but I hope you guys are barraging me with this stuff. I got to find a way to get through this stuff faster. Are you guys having fun with this? Is this cool? Are you guys enjoying yourself? So Bob is asking, what is your suggestion to name our practice since Bob's hypnosis would be bad? Well, here's how I would start, Bob. What is the number one problem that you're the best at fixing in terms of if you have a hypnosis practice, right? And assuming you've had clients, what has been your favorite client to work with the greatest level of results, right? Once you understand what that is, then ask yourself a question. What was the problem that they had, right? And if that's the kind of people you want to work with, that's where you should start thinking about what to name your business. Individuals can be very, very, very intelligent. But for some mysterious reason, I call this the law of inverse IQ. The bigger the group, the less critical thinking and analysis tends to happen. Don't know why, but if you've been to my Killer Influence class, or you've been to Events Against the Dark Arts, or even Identity by Design or Vibrational Influence, we show this little stupid metronome video where you have 36 different metronomes all moving at the same time. And within 2.5 minutes, they're all doing this. Human neurology tends to work the same way. We all come into this massive group, rock concert, political rally, whatever, and we're all thinking different things. And over time, we start to get in resonance with the people around us. And regardless of what we consciously might want, our consciousness tends to change. It tends to shift because you're all within 8 feet of rapidly beating metronomes, the human heart, right? And your neurology is a large tuning fork, for lack of a better word. So you have to be very careful about these group dynamics, right? Because they have a very powerful way of overriding your critical faculty. So again, the more people in the group, the lower the aggregate IQ of the group tends to drop, right? Okay, let's see here. I'm scrolling up here. So Nasir Abbasi asked, David, my wife has a phobic personality and has a strong fear of flying. Is there anything you can suggest? Absolutely. Transformational triad, magic frame, color breathing, energy spinning. Try those, see what happens. I think our record for removing a flying phobia is 90 seconds using the energy spinning technique. But you got to make sure she wants to get rid of it. So that's where the other two techniques come in. TP Creative, how would you use NLP and energy work to help someone release fear and freeze when it comes to the things they love? Transformational Priad, magic frame, color breathing, energy spinning. Okay. We have lots of videos for that, by the way, for free on the YouTube channel. You can just binge watch it to your heart's content, or come to one of the events and we'll teach it to you personally. They love. Yeah. Philippa, I'm a mindset and wellness coach that uses hypnosis as behavior change thing. Perfect. Right. But here's the thing. I wouldn't even worry about saying what you use. My experience with clients has been, for the most part, once they're in the room with you and they've told you their problem, they really wouldn't care if you waved a dead chicken over their head singing the Star Spangled Banner backwards, as long as they got out of the chair better than they got in. At the end of the day, most clients really only care about the result you produce, not how you got there, right? And so most hypnotists, especially fledgling hypnotists or classically trained hypnotists, tend to actually prime their clients to be more resistant and reticent by using the word hypnosis and the classical intake procedure that they're taught, the pre-talk as they're taught about it. We've done away with so much of that old stuff because it actually held us back from creating the changes we want in the shortest amount of time possible. Okay. Now, again, that's been my experience, the experience of my students. I'm not by any means putting down classically trained therapists by any stretch of imagination. Hypnosis as a practice has stood the test of time. But a lot of the things that we're taught in classical hypnosis, most people haven't actually bothered to test. That's what their teacher told them because their teacher told them because their teacher told them. And so that's what they do, right? What do I think of mental coach? Mental coach isn't a bad thing, except you need to actually be you got to know who you're talking to. What kind of customer needs a mental coach? Right? Again, I would recommend, I know for some of you this is going to rub you the wrong way, but if you can go back and get anything that Dan Kennedy ever put out, start with his magnetic marketing system. You're going to find a lot of simple fixes to a lot of what you think are complex problems. The biggest one of which, for most people who are starting a business, is a lack of specificity about what they do and who they're doing it for, and what problem they're seeking to solve. They try to talk to everybody. And when it comes to internet work, when it comes to marketing in general, offline or online, if you try to talk to everybody, you wind up talking to practically no one. Human beings need to have very simple, clear lines of reference. They need to know who you are, what you do, and how it relates to what they need fixed. If that's not stated in your website address, in your business cards, in your promotional material, as a headline, in some way, you've lost them from the beginning. Very, very few people go onto the internet, go to Google or Yahoo and type in hypnotherapy, my place. They don't do that. They go in looking for how to stop pain, how to lose weight, how to stop being afraid. And then hypnosis tends to come up. People are very, very problem solution oriented. And so when people are looking for those solutions, they need to know that you have that fix. And so when you talk to them, what you do and what you fix and who you fix it for needs to be as very clearly defined as possible, or at least arouse enough curiosity in them that they're willing to click the next link or go to the next page to find out more, right? You have to lead them one click at a time through your process. But if they can't relate directly with what you have versus what they need fixed, you've lost them from the beginning. It's going to be, in the pickup terms, they have what called fool's mate, which is getting anything that comes your way just because they were interested, not because you actually did something specific to get them. Anyway, so I hope that helps. So Dave's son says, I purchased one of your courses on attraction. How do I actually internalize the frames you mentioned? I know the frames are beneficial, but not sure how to install them. Identity by design. Get the identity by design silo. See if it's a personality transformation or self-mastery supercharger. Will allow you to systematically install those frames into you. Come out to our live attraction mastery training in February. We'll help you do it. Okay. Mike says, yes, enjoying the conversation. Cool. Kian Nazemzadeh, I hope I pronounced that right. How can I prepare myself for something I never saw? I need to administrate 3 people at work, but my only character in life was being a companion for someone not to moderate people. Okay, the magic question you want to ask yourself is, if I were comfortably in charge of 3 people and I had to administrate them, if I were doing that perfectly, what might that be like? The moment you ask yourself what that might be like, your brain is going to start to generate a scenario. Allow yourself to fantasize of what that might be like. Okay? Create that movie in your head and run it over and over and over again. And then there's lots of things, other things you can do with that. But the secret is that once you create what it might be like, and you run through that multiple times, at the very least, you've created an avatar inside of yourself that has some foundations, right? And then what you want to do is, once you have that foundation, you might say, well, what if I have 3 people and one of them is like this? What might that be like? The magic question, what might that be like, opens up possibilities in your imagination that allows you to run scenarios. As you run through these scenarios over and over and over again, you'll start to gain a type of behavioral foundation and perspective, a template or a plan, if you will, for how to manage people effectively, right? Certainly you want to absolutely go out there and study as many different resources on how to manage others as possible. Anything on emotional intelligence, behavioral profiling, understanding how to read people, all of these will add to your lexicon of resources that you can bring to bear. But they don't really do anything for you until you start running scenarios in your head that give you a kind of vicarious experience of what that situation might be like. Now, keep in mind, when you go from in your head to the real world, they're not going to be the same. But there may be enough similarities that can allow you to have an idea of what to do in that situation based on the priming work that you've done. So I got to make one message here really quick. All right, let's see here. Joaquim says, did I miss something that Danka said? I might have. All right, well, if she's interested, she'll ask it again. Let's see here. Or can't use the natural. Okay, your questions are really fragmented, so I'm trying to. I'm not following you as well as I'd like to. Let's see. So, Alex P is asking how to develop a mysterious presence. Jewelry? That sounds like 2 different questions, but how to develop a mysterious presence is to never really be an open book. So the idea behind being mysterious is making people curious about you. The fastest way to make people curious about you is to be curious about them, to get them talking about themselves without ever really volunteering a whole lot about yourself. It's not that you're deliberately evasive. It's just that you minimize the amount of information you give out versus the amount of information you entice the other person to give out. And that happens as a natural byproduct of 3 magic questions, right? You can actually use behavioral scarcity to amplify that, which we teach in Attraction Mastery. There's a lot of different behavioral things that you can do that make you a scarce resource. That, combined with you know way more about them than they know about you, creates that pleasant but mysterious persona that I think you're going for. Okay. TP Creative says, thank you so much. You are very welcome. Seek God only might be found. Praise Jesus. Okay. Bill Souther, the lists on YouTube are all based on dealing with issues. Can a series of lists be created for videos that show specific processes? I'm sure they could, but all those processes are embedded within content. I'd probably have to do a separate line of videos for that, or put some of my paid content on a public view. If you have things like, our mastermind videos or Identity by Design, all the processes are there in the order that we do them. At higher levels, the stuff gets a little bit more systematized and organized. At the public levels, we put out what we think is going to be most user-friendly to the general public. Right? Let's see here. Ofek Sharabi says, your wisdom is beyond words. Well, thank you. I don't know if I really live up to that praise, but thank you so much for that. Let's see here. Dave Sun says, how do I become more comfortable talking to attractive women? There's only one way to become more comfortable talking to attractive women. That's to go up and talk to attractive women. Now, one of the old school ways to do this, A, is clean up all your shit pertaining to being rejected or not accepted by attractive women. The second thing is make as many attractive friends as humanly possible. Not so you can date them, but so that you can have attractive friends that you can hang out with in a purely platonic way that gets you used to dealing with attractive people. The fastest way is through. The fastest way around is through. Make attractive friends. Go to places where attractive people hang out and just befriend them. Interestingly, though, when you flip the friendship switch on, you may find that a lot of these friends suddenly take a romantic interest in you. Don't bite the hook. Keep them as friends, because attractive friends have attractive friends. Date the friends of the friends, not the friends in your circle. But really, the truth of the matter is, if you want to be perceived as more attractive, you need to hang around more attractive people. If you want to be comfortable around attractive people, you need to hang around attractive people, right? Until you just get desensitized to it. That was one of the benefits of actually moving to Los Angeles from Oklahoma. After about the first 6 to 9 months, everywhere I looked, I was falling over a beautiful woman, or a beautiful dude, for that matter. I'm not into dudes, but you're surrounded by, the world's largest genetic experiment here in Los Angeles. Beautiful people are everywhere. And after a while, I was like, okay, another beautiful person. What else they got besides a cool exterior, right? Why? You get desensitized. After a while, all I saw was eyes and a brain. I didn't even, didn't matter how they looked in a bikini. I saw eyes. I saw a neck, a brain on a brainstem, and a set of eyes. And I just talked to the eyes. And I wanted to find out if the person inside was just as interesting as the person on the outside. But old school, just hang around with as many attractive people as possible. Befriend them, right? Until it no longer is a big deal. Because as long as you continue to make it a big deal, it will be, right? Of course, there's certain lots of mental processes that we can do. Start with the transformational triad, energy spinning, and magic frame. And you can start negating a lot of that crap right off the bat. I think I started with that. But then just immerse yourself in that environment. Let's see here. Vlad says, David, what do you think is the best hypnosis protocol for removing addictions? Start with the transformational triad and then go into hypnotic regression, either classical regression or holographic regression that we teach in rapid trauma resolution. Those are going to be the fastest ways to really, get to the bottom of an addictive behavior as well as to dissolve it. Let's see here. David Chan, which course has more info on attraction archetypes? That would be Attraction Mastery, probably. Some Killer Influence, but largely Attraction Mastery. Let's see here. Tangible ways to create a celebrity aura. There's a technique we teach in CPI and Attraction Mastery and Killer Influence called the Rockstar Metaframe. Learn it. Danka, any deeper way to release attachments and thought forms to someone, or alternately attract them if they've been dating someone else? Above energy clearing, hypnosis, plant medicine, not worked. A, are you using 3 magic questions? B, are you signaling that you are approachable? If you've got attachments, are you cutting those energetic cords, right? Are you truly willing to let go of those attachments? That's what I see. What I see is the biggest impediment to healing is that even though we say we want to get rid of the attachments, we don't. So that would be where I would start. If ask yourself the magic question: if is it okay for me to get rid of these attachments? All right. And if the answer is anything but a resounding yes, point to where you feel it, reach out and touch it, magic frame it, and see if what happens there. Let's see. Lamar Saunders says, what is the most impressive thing you've recently manifested or attracted? Most impressive. There's been some pretty impressive shit. I would say my doctorate program. So if you go to the video on YouTube, Funny But True Law of Attraction Stories, you'll hear me talk about some of the coolest manifestation things that I've done using the techniques I teach. How effective have I found permission to close when selling? I never ask for permission. In fact, I almost never have to ask them to buy. My hardest close most of the time is how soon do you want to get started? Or what's the next step we need to take? And it's largely because I use the emotional bonding checklist. And so the minute people see the achievement of their heart's desires right in front of them, most objections go right out the window and they ask you to buy. They ask you to take the job or whatever. Is there an attraction mastery FB group? Yes, there is, Royce, but it's only for people who actually attended the original live event. Let's see here. Evader says, David, cool to get a chance to say hi to you. I think I watched all your YouTube videos about hypnosis that are free. I learned a lot. Feel much invited to my channel. Evader for Charlie. Okay. Hagerstown Hypnosis Center. Hey, Marie. Hi, David. Miss seeing you working with students, teaching, etc. on video within hypnotic methods on the fly, so to speak, at least more recently. We're trying to fix that. Pheromone colognes by Dr. Amen. Yes. Let's see here. Will Melvin says, have you ever seen blatant use of NLP out in the real world that put a huge smile on your face? I asked because I recently saw a pastor chaining anchors. I got a kick out of it. Yes, I do. In fact, in my class I've got coming up in Las Vegas, July 25th through the 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th, 28th, is called Hypnotic Presentation Skills. And it's all about what I call the system behind the system. You know, a lot of high-level presenters out there will have a trainer's trainer where they teach you to do what they do, but they don't actually teach you to do what they're doing. And so in Hypnotic Presentation Skills, I teach you how to create a presentation, how to create an offer, how to position your audience, but then I also pull back the curtain and I show you all the hidden NLP techniques. There's about 14 of them, 14 to 15 of them, that high-level presenters like T. Harv Eker and Robert Allen and Lisa Sasevich and Tony Robbins all utilize to hypnotically mindfuck people to run to the back of the room. And I teach you what they look like. I actually take a transcript that I required from a very high-level presenter, and I actually deconstruct it for you as part of the class, so you can see what this stuff actually looks like in application. Not people trying to teach you hypnosis or NLP, but just have a vested interest in using it on you to get you to rush to the back of the room. It's as much a self-defense course as it is an empowerment course for people who are going to present and public speak. And if you are a coach, a teacher, anybody who makes a living helping others in interactions, the fastest, most economical way to build your business with a minimum budget is through public speaking. So if any of you are interested in that, this is one of the few classes, the few hypnotic presentation skills classes where we've waived all the prerequisites. Instead of a 3-day training, it's a 4-day training. So you can come in with absolutely no idea about what's going on, and we will teach you from the ground up how to walk into an audience and just knock them dead and have them run to the back of the room to sign up for your business, whatever that is, or just teach them better or have them experience profound changes and transformations. For those of you who are interested, I will put the link in the chat /022HL24. Hopefully this is the right, I got this right. If anybody's interested in that class, you're invited to come out. Just reach out to Stephanie. We only have a few slots for that one left because it is a presentation skills class. We actually put you on stage and have you practice presenting, right? We actually gave Hypnothoughts presenters a $500 discount because half of them were new, and we wanted them to be able to go in and just be able to rock it their first time out. We wanted, If you're going to be a first-time presenter, it's nice to have a presentation that doesn't actually suck, right? So that's why we're doing it. Okay. Let's see here. Lamar says, where can I buy your hypnotic presenter? You can go to davidsnydernlp.com, type in charisma and conversion. In the products box, and the CPI 4 class will come up. That's what we call it on the website. Let's see here. Evader says, I live in Germany, not coming to Vegas, but your stuff is awesome. Thank you. Kian says, I always had like two personalities, child and another, and now I have third, which is like a judge, and I'm overwhelmed with the ideas. I'm talking to myself, I'm doing good, but I can never, not there. Okay. So Alex is asking how to deal with intrusive negative thoughts. Change your posture, change your breathing, point to where you feel it, spin it the opposite way. Color breathe it or magic frame it. That's going to be the fastest way to deal with that, Alex. I did not see your taking a new approach says you skipped my question. What was your question? I did not see it. So Kian says, find a stable state. So I'm always in the wrong state because of that. Change your posture, change your breathing, brother. That's all you got to do. Hold it for at least 2 minutes. Your shit will change. King Sakura. Hey, David, you said that once you can install skills using Magic Frame, how does one go about doing that? I don't know that I said you can install skills using Magic Frame. You can, in fact, change limiting beliefs and mindsets and things that are keeping you from installing limiting skills. You can program new beliefs, which can lead to new skills. You probably have to combine Magic Frame with something else to install a skill. That other thing probably being color breathing. And actually the Identity by Design silo would probably be, and Magic Circle would probably be the best combination for that. The Identity by Design silo is really what you're looking for. It has all those components in it. Let's see. Thank you for this live stream. You're very welcome. Danka, can you remind us the resistance removal protocol? Ask them what they, first of all, restore personal autonomy. Ask them what their reason for wanting to do the thing they just said they didn't want to do might be. Ask them on a scale of 0 to 10, how much they might want to do that. Once they give you a number, ask them why they didn't rate it less. Agree with them. Ask them what the next step they need to take is to move forward on that particular process. Okay, that's, hold on a second. I've got texts coming in. Okay, I got to jump out of the way soon, but I hope weight loss tips. Really depends on what's causing your weight. And so if you're more than 20 pounds overweight, you probably want to get a physical and make sure there's nothing physiologically wrong with you. Second, I would say I would start with hypnosis as a way to, anything over 20 to 25 pounds is usually emotional rather than lifestyle. So if you're more than 20 to 25 pounds overweight, hypnosis targeting the emotional reasons behind the eating is probably going to be a good place to start, combined with behavioral modification and new habit formation. If it's less than 20 to 25 pounds, you may just be better served by getting up off your butt and walking more, changing your diets. Not necessarily going on a diet, but changing your diet to something that is more healthier, more in alignment with your body, making sure that there aren't a high degree of food sensitivities or allergies contributing to the binges that you might be having. Being very aware of any foods that make you start to binge eat. Like sometimes, like one of the problems I didn't realize I had was pizza. Like I eat a piece of pizza, all of a sudden I can't stop eating pizza, right? It was a food sensitivity that I had. Right. So this is often a telltale sign of problems. Like if there's a food that makes you a bottomless pit, probably food sensitivity, right? Probably one of the best books at a beginner level is called The Virgin Diet by J.J. Virgin. Good place to start inventorying the food choices that you're making, how inflammatory or food sensitive you might be. Follow that up with talking to a dietitian, a medical doctor, make sure all of your stuff is working right before you start changing all the other things. Okay. How can you have more physical energy? Again, proper diet, proper nutrition, getting up and moving even when you feel tired, finding activities that you love to do, and realize that everybody has a bit of inertia when it comes to getting into the game. Even athletes, they've just gotten used to what that inertia feels like, and they know what to do about it. Most of us don't. We don't understand that our body is always trying to slow us down because it wants to preserve energy until it's been forced into enough situations where it knows it has to recalibrate its energy processing to give us more energy. Okay, taking an approach. What techniques would you use for cold calling primary care practices? I sell EMR to doctors. That is a great question. First thing is I would start with a question. I would tell them your try to turn your cold calls into warm calls. So if you can do a little bit more backgrounding on the people that you're going to reach out to, and use them as a referral. Like maybe you're talking to a colleague and you ask them for 5 or 6 names of people who you think might benefit from your services. But I would talk to only the people who've actually bought your service. Ask them if they know 5 or 6 people that would benefit from it. Get their contact information and say you were speaking to so-and-so, and they recommended that they said you might be interested in this solution to your problem as well. But my good friend James C2 was a master at getting past gatekeepers. My experience with getting past gatekeepers was just cold calling for insurance sales. But I would always talk about how you'd like to ask the doctor's opinion about something. So calling up with the idea that you're actually looking for information rather than trying to sell them something is actually a much better way to get to talk to the decision maker. But remember, a lot of these receptionists are excellent gatekeepers. One of the things my friend Scott Sandlin did, some of you know who Scott is, some of you don't. Scott is the founder of Hypnothoughts Live, the world's largest hypnosis convention. But I knew him when he was just the pasty kid from Newport Beach. The way Scott made his name was through pain control for dentists. And he did something very, very interesting. Is he would walk in, he went to dentists that he knew and took them out to lunch. And rather than hit them up to let him in, what he did was he said, do you know anybody that could use my services or something to that effect? And he got names and he reached out to them. And then what he did was he said, hey, would you be, my name is Scott Sandlin. And one of the reasons I bring this up is because one of the obstacles he had to deal with was pharmaceutical reps always calling these doctors and trying to get FaceTime. So one of the things you might want to do is you want to start befriending the obstacles. You want to start looking for people who can refer you by name that you're more likely to get FaceTime with. Do your best to turn warm or cold approaches into warm approaches. Open with a question like James C2 would say, hey, your name was given to me in reference to a project I'm working on, and I was wondering if I could pick your brain on some stuff. Right? He was a headhunter for Fortune 500 companies. Right? Your project is electronic medical records. Your name was given to me by in reference to a project I'm working on. I was wondering if I could pick your brain about something if you had a few minutes. Boom. That gets you in the door. And now you start talking about, I'm curious about something. What do you currently use electronic medical records? I'm curious. Is there anything from your service that what are you not getting from your current electronic medical record service? And now they're going to start telling you all the things that they're not getting, the services they'd like better. And now you have an in, right? But you didn't do it by saying, hey, let me sell you electronic medical records. You did it by asking them to be the trusted resource. You did it by flipping the script on them, so to speak, and positioning them as the go-to guy. You may find that works a little bit better for you, but it'll get you in the door faster. Okay, test it and let me know what happens. Echo technique, 3 magic questions is great, but it's probably going to be used better on the gatekeepers at first, simply because the more you can befriend the obstacle, the person between you and them, the more access you're likely to get. Weight loss tips. A, lower your carbs, walk more, get blood work done, make sure that you don't have any thyroid stuff going on. Walk 20 minutes a day and eat lots of green vegetables. I don't know Weight loss tip. I mean, there's a massive field of weight loss tips, Blue. I don't know exactly what you want to know about. Okay. Let's see here. A chemical process. Are there any other shamanic methods for specific techniques you've adapted besides the breathing and state change ones present in your video courses? Shamanic method. Lots, but they're all an extension or a foundation in those. We give you foundations first. You know, one of the more colorful members in the Qigong world, a guy named Gary Kleiman, likes to say, masters are made in the beginning, which means mastery of the fundamentals, mastery of the foundations is necessary for anything else. So these things that we keep teaching you over and over and over and over and over again. Yes, there's other stuff, but if you don't have a mastery of this, you're not going to be able to do that other stuff, right? Finance, medical equipment. So you're speaking to me. And finance, okay, so very good. Warm approach in networking can lead to amazing opportunities and new connections that have little. Yes, absolutely. All right. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, it works really well. My friend James was an absolute master at that. Going on a diet implies an end. Okay, good. Lute says, thank you very much for this AMA. Any experience or opinions and suggest? I don't have anything. I don't have any knowledge whatsoever about molecular hydrogen. You know who the person to talk to about molecular hydrogen would be my wife, Dawn. She has a PhD in biochemistry. So she probably could tell you more about the applications of that than I could. Do I have any new face reading classes coming up soon next year? I believe we do. I'll double check and I will post it as soon as possible. Okay. Let's see here. I'm new to the concept of image cycling. What's the best resource? Start with Hands-On Healing by Bill Bankston, and then get The Energy Cure, also by Bill Bankston. Probably, he's the guy who created the process. I learned it from him, and I've adapted it for my methods, but I always credit where my sources. Music marketing tips. Lunatic, you're going to have to be a little bit more helpful with your question. Alex says, I've had a hard time relaxing. My mind is always focused on growth and success. What do you do to relax other than meditation and hot baths? Meditation's fine, but I think any hobby that gets you off the treadmill, even for a few minutes, is going to be helpful. Go to a movie, listen to music, right? Read a comic book, read a novel, right? Do things that are dramatically different from orienting on just growth and success. There's a problem that we have many times when you're a go-getter, when you're someone who's focused on achievement. You get into this hamster on a treadmill mode where it's all you think about, and many times people start to think if they're not doing something, they're not being productive. Well, you know what they call if you know what notes in music are, right? If you have notes with no space in between them, you know what we call that? Noise, right? One of my other proxy mentors, a guy by the name of Scott Sonnen, not Sandlin, but Sonnen, in his book on peak performance says, overtraining feels a lot like undertraining. And I'm as prone to that as the next person. So one of the things that we have to do is we have to put the spaces between the notes in the music. It's the downtime that adds power to the uptime, right? Many times when you physically move away from the thing you're active in and you get your mind off of it, epiphanies come out of nowhere. But we try to facilitate that process by spinning our wheels faster, when in actuality, what we have to do many times is just stop, break that state, do something completely different, and come back with fresh eyes. Okay. What author's name hit distraction. Okay. Okay. Well, listen, guys, it's 1:24. I've been on, actually, no, it's 4:01 here. It's time for me to officially jump off, but I want to thank you all for hanging out, for asking amazing questions. Please like and share this video with as many different people as possible. If you have ideas and questions for future content, please, please, please let us know. Okay. This has been the highlight of my 4th of July weekend. I want to thank you all for coming out. I love you all. In the words of the immortal Carol Burnett, I'm so glad we had this time together just to have a laugh or sing a song. Seems we just got started, and before you know it, comes the time we have to say so long. Good night, my friends. Have a great 4th of July. Remember, the only freedom we have is the one we fight for. Good night and God bless. Take care.